Welcome back. Today we're looking at a piece arguing that AI is, well, basically an unavoidable wave set to completely reshape Hollywood, especially animation, by slashing costs and knocking down old barriers.
Yeah, it's a really forceful take, a provocative thesis, and we think it lands some solid punches, but maybe could hit even harder with a few tweaks. We've got three main thoughts here.
Okay, so first up, the central economic argument that AI is going to just crush production costs, that's super compelling. But the piece makes this strong case for AI being inevitable. Yet the pacing feels a bit dragged down by some of the historical examples. They feel like detours sometimes.
Right. That's the weakness. The connection you draw between, big industry shifts and unions worrying about dues, that's brilliant. But then we get these long side trips.
Yeah, like the Macintosh analogy.
Exactly. The Macintosh for the screen idea, that's gold. It really clicks. But we lose that forward momentum when we dive deep into, say, specific Apple e-memories or finding a Ridley Scott DVD in a bargain bin.
Those bits, while kind of interesting maybe on their own, they really interrupt the main thread, don't they? It's like we zoom out too far too often.
Totally. We need to keep the focus tight. So the suggestion is use those historical parallels, but keep them super concise, like upfront framing devices.
Okay.
Position that Macintosh comparison, letting regular people do pro-level stuff, as the key metaphor for AI and film. Say it quick, and then pivot right back to the main argument. Don't linger.
Got it. Make it punchy. Establish the context fast, then bam, hit them with the modern impact. So how does that look like in practice?
Well, for example, state the Macintosh for the screen concept clearly, then immediately jump to the tools people are using now.
Like Showrunner or Wondershare?
Exactly. Show, don't just tell, how amateurs can get pro results today. Forget the personal journey of learning the old tech. Focus on how the new tech disrupts the current business.
And keep the financial examples just as lean?
Absolutely. That Tron RS example costing $180 million, making $33 million, that needs to be a quick jab, like boom.
Ouch, yeah.
And then instantly connect it. AI could have done that cheaper. That justifies the cuts, the streamline. Keep that economic laser beam on target.
Okay.
And any other necessary bits, like sponsor mentions or whatever, make sure they're clearly walled off. Don't make the listener backtrack through memory lane right when you're building the case for the future.
All right, let's shift to the end. The advice for creatives. The point that audiences don't really care how stuff is made, just that it's good, that lands. But the advice itself, telling people to just be imperfect or authentic, it feels, well, less sharp than the rest of the analysis.
Yeah, it feels a bit defensive, maybe? Like, the weakness here is that advice, show your flaws to prove you're human. Against perfect AI, it's kind of reactive. Especially when you compare it to the really proactive, almost aggressive predictions elsewhere. The animation industry getting nuked, the rise of bot wranglers. It's a mismatch in tone.
Right. You correctly say AI is just another tool, like moving from 2D to 3D, but the advice doesn't quite follow through on mastering that tool.
So we need to flip that. Move from defense to offense. If AI is the future, how do creators actually win in that, not just survive it?
Okay, so what's the suggestion?
Reorient the advice completely. Focus on mastering AI. It's the new paintbrush in the box, right? And emphasize how the old skill, the creative vision, knowing the fundamentals, like a graphic designer knew paper and ink before tablets. That stuff gives you a huge leg up in actually directing the AI. In prompt engineering, and having oversight. It's not about just pressing a button.
But isn't there a risk there? If everyone just learns prompt engineering for the same tools, does it just lead to algorithmic sameness, generic stuff?
That's a great point, and maybe needs to be clearer. The advantage isn't just hitting generate more often, it's about vision.
Okay.
So, shift the focus. Don't just avoid perfection, command the AI to achieve specific human-guided results. Stuff the AI wouldn't think of on its own.
So creatives become the directors.
Exactly. Advise them to focus on keyframes, on setting the aesthetic style, on the high-level story and character design. Be the showrunner for the AI process, not just someone feeding it prompts vague.
That 2D to 3D analogy really works here then. You didn't reject 3D, you learned the software.
Precisely. Learn the tools, embrace the automation for the grunt work, and specialize. You rightly predict the tools will probably shake out to a few standards, like a final cut of AI.
Right.
So the actionable advice is, become that expert. Become the efficient, low-cost competitor who can deliver that $125 million vision for $25 million. because you know how to direct the automation. That's the new craft.
Okay, third point. The argument suggests the main fear around AI is money. Agents losing fees, unions losing dues, which feels plausible. But it also correctly flags the need to use AI ethically and legally. Protect copyright, mentions Jason Blum.
Yeah, it acknowledges it, but here's the potential weak. By framing the fear as mostly financial, it might unintentionally downplay the very real legal and contractual battles already happening.
Like with likenesses and voice actors?
Exactly. Stolen likenesses, voice clonings, these aren't trivial issues. And if the piece doesn't fully weave these ethical constraints into the core argument, then Hollywood gatekeepers could actually use those issues as their last line of defense. We can't use this tech because it's unethical, illegal, even when solutions exist.
So dealing with the ethics isn't just a nice to have, it's actually the key for studios to unlock the cost savings you're talking about. They have to solve it to get the benefits.
Precisely. That's the suggestion. To really nail the inevitability argument, you need to integrate managing these ethical constraints, copyright, likeness, as a fundamental requirement for this AI future. It's not a side note. It's part of structural shift. It's the only way, really, that Hollywood avoids just, as you put it, ceding content creation to other people. They keep control, but it's decentralized. Like Substack for writers, maybe. Direct payment bypasses old structures, but within a framework.
Okay, so how do we show that? How do we frame negotiating the ethics as the next logical step for studios trying to cut costs?
Well, you can detail how studios are already being forced to figure this out. Payment structures for digital doubles, for AI voice use.
The SAG-AFTRA contract stuff?
Perfect example. Reference that. It shows a framework for paid, ethical use already exists, or is at least being built. This isn't some theoretical future problem. It's a present-day negotiation. It makes the ethical solution part of the inevitable path forward.
And that lets us circle back to the budget argument. Even with paying for likenesses, the numbers still work out?
Yes. Use those budget figures you provide. Cast and crew, maybe 30%. Post-production, 15 to 25%. Argue that even if you factor in fair compensation for likeness rights, the massive savings from automating huge chunks of post-production, visual effects, maybe smaller crews, it completely dwarfs that cost.
So paying ethically is actually the enabler for the bigger savings elsewhere.
Exactly. Emphasize that. The legal framework for paying for likeness isn't a barrier, it's the mechanism that unlocks exponential savings in other areas. It turns a potential legal headache into just another line item in a much, much leaner budget. It makes the business case even stronger.
Got it. That really tightens the whole argument, makes the ethical part a necessary step towards the inevitable financial outcome, not just the moral consideration.
Look, this is really timely, urgent stuff. And that core idea, AI is the Macintosh for the screen, that's a fantastic anchor for the whole piece. Really strong foundation.
Absolutely. So to build on that, we've got three main suggestions. First, really tighten up the narrative flow around those historical bits. Be ruthless with the anecdotes, keep the focus squarely on the economic argument's momentum.
Second, sharpen that advice for creative. Move beyond just be authentic to concrete action. Master the AI tools, learn the new craft, focus on becoming the director, the showrunner of the AI pipeline. Make it proactive.
And third, weave the ethical considerations, likeness, copyright, fair payment, right into the structural argument. Show that managing these isn't just right. It's actually the necessary strategic step for studios to realize those massive AI-driven cost savings.
Yeah, nail those three things. Tighten the historical analogies, make the creative advice about mastery, and integrate the ethical framework as part of the core business shift. We think those changes will make an already powerful argument truly undeniable.
We're really looking forward to seeing how you incorporate this feedback. Please feel free to send the revised material back our way for another look. Until next time, keep pushing those boundaries.